that in there.
Do it. One more time, man. We just need you to perform one more time. Well, I'm Captain Jason Prieto, Captain Danny Guarino, Captain Rick Lyle, and a couple other names we won't call them. I guess we're going to do, we also, as he said, we do radio on Sunday morning, 7 to 9, Anthem Fishing Outfitters radio show. We invite each and every one of you guys to call in every Sunday, listen, give us fishing reports, just talk fishing with us, talk whatever. We're pretty laid back. If anybody listens to our show pretty much knows that. We really don't have, we got a format that we follow, we make ourselves follow, but it's pretty open.
So I don't know that we've ever actually followed it.
No, I had to actually pre-record commercials, so we did. But with that being said, I guess we're going to talk about the fishing side.
Before we do that, Donald also won last week on the show, so I wanted to, he won.
Yeah, you did.
Persistence pays.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call anymore if he calls ahead of me.
That's a good move, Mike.
We're gonna pull his name out.
I'm starting to think that he uses different names and calls about 5 times because he's got all this stuff. But anyhow, we're going to do a little,
Every week.
I guess we're doing a seminar on mackerel. Mackerel is about as easy as it gets, so to speak.
Except this year.
Except for this year. I really don't know what's going on this year. But, well, mackerel's just been tough. Maybe you guys know something I don't know. But
How many people here mackerel fish?
usually on there.
Okay.
Well, it's a great fish. These guys love it. I'm not gonna say I like it because I don't. As far as eating, but they love mackerel. Danny did get that big by eating nothing, so he liked it. But mackerel's a great fish. It's a good starter fish. They're easy to catch. They fight good. They're a decent table fare, and there's plenty of them in the bay. So I think this tournament here, I know you guys are doing a tournament. What's the date of the tournament, Steve?
May the
19th. Not that he hasn't said that 15 times on the radio show, but it's a good tournament for you guys if you want to get your kids out. You do the snook and the reds. Sometimes it can be a chore to get them to bite. It's a little more of a educated fish, so to speak. I think the mackerel's a good tournament because you can get kids out there that actually get out there. Pretty easy to catch some mackerel. It's a good beginner fish. If you're getting into fishing, it's probably one of the better fish to get out there and get your feet wet with doing it.
Something else about mackerel, before we get into the techniques and that kind of thing. One, they are good to eat, but cleaning a mackerel, it's the quality of your meal is going to depend a lot on how you clean them. If you clean them and get the bloodline out, they're very good fish to eat. If you don't, they're going to have a little fishy taste. They're not oily, like everybody seems to, for whatever reason, think. They're not a real oily fish, but if you clean them right, and I wish I had saved one for today, I could have brought it here and showed you guys how to clean them because it's really, no, it really is. If you clean them right, it's easier when you clean them right, and they just taste so much better. But
Go ahead.
the one thing about mackerel fishing, I'm going to assume that everybody here, I would say the majority, fishes on weekends. Okay, when's everybody fishing on weekends? I don't know. Last Saturday on the Southshore, was anybody out there?
Yeah,
How many boats was out on the Southshore Saturday?
too many of them.
There must have been 70 boats on the Southshore. The nice thing about mackerel fishing is if you have to fish on weekends and you get out there and you go to your first spot and someone's there, and the second spot someone's there, you can always mackerel fish, and find a spot where you're not going to be crowded. Just because.
There's not, and if you pull up next to somebody, it's not like pulling up on a snook spot, so to speak. I mean, they're not like, going to spook off or, you'll see some common areas where there's some boats lined up.
Now, if I'm mackerel fishing, come sit next to me because we'll just take turns chumming.
Yeah.
I'll feed off your chum and you can feed off mine. That's kind of a good thing, but.
When you're looking for spots for mackerel, I'm going to cover a little bit. Danny, chime in because I know this is your favorite fish. Danny's going to demonstrate. I wish we had a live fish here. He's got what we call it the mackerel grab.
Yes.
And it kind of like, the fish is flopping like this, and he kind of just locks it on his stomach, and the fish flops like this. And by the end of the day, he's got mackerel slime from here to about here with about 15 in the pool. We call it the mackerel grab. I don't know if seen.
There's a lot of things that we think.
It'd be a lot better.
Nobody gets.
That's why I tell them,
And we laugh.
You know it's funny when you hear the other boats laughing at you.
Yeah, we're next filming our customers. I was like, watch this. You gotta watch. Like, stop fishing. You gotta watch this.
It's literally been like, okay, he's got one on watch.
Yeah,
Watch,
yeah.
watch.
So but on a serious note, good place to start for mackerel. It's easy. You want moving water. Income and outgoing really don't matter. Moving water. Hard bottom. Find some hard bottom. You don't have to have big rocks. A lot of your artificial reefs out here hold fish. I typically like to stay away from the artificial reefs because there's 100 boats out there. A lot of the outer flats, 4 to 10 foot, all the way down the Southshore. There's a lot of hard bottom out there. On the outer flats, on the hard bottom, structure, any kind of structure, on the edges of the ship channel, around a lot of the towers, around Port Manatee's, them towers out there got some good mackerel on them. I mean, that's just, and you just want moving water. It really doesn't matter. You know, a good time to fish mackerel, you got quarter moon, you guys understand the tides, quarter moons are slower tides. If you got a quarter moon day and you're gonna go fishing, probably typically is not gonna be the best time to go snook fishing. You know, quarter moon, you got just a slow tide. At times it might be barely moving. A lot of times on the flats, like last week we had a quarter moon. Tide sucked, it's horrible. And if you went in the flats, the water was almost non-existent moving. But if you get out in the middle of the bay, you have a little bit of movement, and usually will spark a mackerel bite. So it's you know, if you want to go mackerel fishing, I'd say the snook days for the better tides. So your quarter moons are pretty good. As far as rigging, same rod I use for snook and reds. I use a smaller reel. Danny, I think, used a little bigger. Actually, I think that Conjin using these smaller ones now.
I use the bigger ones for mackerel, a little bit bigger.
I typically use the same rod. This is 2500 dialer reel. It's pretty small. 10-pound braid. Just an 8-foot. Exact same thing. The only thing that difference I'll do, and it's a little trick I just learned from trial and error over the years. This is 25-pound leader, and I didn't tie it on this one because I was lazy. And please don't come look at this knot because I was trying to figure out what I did over there. It's not breaking, but it's not a good knot, I can tell you that. Just tie a simple double uni knot, which is not a good example again. This is 25-pound leader. The trick with mackerel is they got teeth, so that's a XXX Eagle Claw long shank hook. You can buy these by the 100. Danny, how much are they? $12 or something like that. Mustad makes the longer the hook, almost the better. And I'll tell you a little trick that I've done, I've experimented. What'll happen when you get on a real good mackerel bite is you'll get a fish that hits this. Well, mackerel run in schools by the hundreds typically. You'll have another one, while he's shaking this makes a little air bubble in the water, and a lot of times they'll hit it up here and they'll take the whole hook. What I have done, and it's made a big difference, I didn't do it here because we haven't been catching a whole lot of mackerel, I haven't done a lot of mackerel fishing, is I'll take a piece of 50 or 60 fluorocarbon, short piece, and just section it in. So now what happens is, this 25, they can just bump it and it'll break. That 50 or 60, they can bump it, and a lot of times you'll see it all mangled up, but you still get the fish in versus losing the hook. I haven't had a situation where I had to downsize to this to catch fish. I haven't personally. I don't know if you guys have. Danny says he has. I really haven't. Danny probably does a little more mackerel fishing than I do at times. But that's a little trick that'll, especially if you're catching the bigger ones. You guys are going after, is it the biggest most on the mackerel? Longest mackerel, okay, that's my thought.
Longest 3.
On your bigger mackerel, obviously they have a bigger mouth, they're gonna hit that bait, and they're gonna try to get the bait whole, where smaller mackerel's gonna grab it here. I don't use steel leader for mackerel. The only time I use steel leader for mackerel is if I'm offshore king fishing. And sometimes you'll get them out there if you're king fishing, and there's a lot of mackerel. The mackerel will hit the steel. I'm not saying you're not going to catch them on steel leader, but in the bay I typically don't use steel leader. But if you tie that section of 60, I don't think you're going to see a decrease in a bite. And if you're worried about it, rig a rod with like a 25 or 30 and then have a little section of 60. But it's going to increase your chances of hooking that big mackerel and catching them versus losing them. So that's a little tip that I've learned over the years. It seems to work for me. And it does pretty well. fishing's pretty simple. I mean, it's a simple rig. The nice thing about what I got here is when I go inshore, I just take it, and this is just a cinch knot. You can tie a single uni knot. I just tie a cinch knot. It takes 2 seconds. I'll just clip this, tie my circle hook on, my loop knot, I'm good to go. So it's simple, it's easy. You can go right back to snooker, reds, or trout. One problem that I do see, and I haven't figured out why, some of the areas that we catch mackerel in certain times of the year, there tend to be nice trout there, sea trout. Well, for whatever reason, a sea trout loves to swallow this hook. I don't know what it is about a 3-inch long hook. So, and sometimes you can't help it. But if you're catching trout and you can go back to the circle, I would recommend it because a lot of times these fish will get hooked on that hook. I don't understand. I have still never understood that.
But those small, that's for sure. So what Jason was talking about, let's go back and talk a little bit about where you fish the mackerel. Jason told you, and look for mark bottom, look for structure, things like that. You know, y'all are gonna fish the Southshore, these towers out here, they're full of mackerel. They're actually full of mackerel, and they're also full of silver trout on the bottom. You just go out the mouth of the river, make a left, go south, get in about 8 to 10 foot of water. From here all the way down to Cockroach, to the first sandbar, just before you get to the Cockroach entrance, that's White Light Bar. Anywhere in there, you can set up a chum line and catch mackerel. That's about as specific as you want it. I mean, you can go there, you just got to get out and start chumming and doing your thing. When Jason's talking about using the 25-pound, I start with the 40-pound. If I know there's mackerel there, they're not hitting my line, I start dropping down size and laders and hooks. Sometimes the water's real clear, they get a little shy. They don't fit. I've actually gone down to a 25-pound leader and a #1 circle hook. Now, I'll probably go through 40 circle hooks, but at least I was getting hit and we were catching it. I mean, it works. One thing I tell people on the boat when they're mackerel fishing, their instinct is to set the hook as soon as they get a bite. And with this J hook, it doesn't matter. You can set the hook. It's not a circle hook. The problem with mackerel is they hit the packs. So you've got 3 or 4 fish trying to hit that one bait. If you jerk it the first time you get a bite, you're going to pull that bait away from the other 2 that are going to probably get on your hook. So I tell everybody, don't try and set that hook. The mackerel's going to hit it hard enough. You'll know when they get on. You don't have to set it. You don't have to try and jam that hook into the mouth. The mouth's not that hard. It'll go in and it's set. So that's a couple of the things I tell people to do. We use scale sardines. That's typically what we're using for mackerel. We also use threadfin herring, the bigger threadfin herring or the smaller one, doesn't matter. They don't seem to stay alive as long as the greenbacks do with the scale sardines, but threadfins will work. You can go out and buy a bag of chum, frozen chum. I don't know, we got them at $7, $8 already. That works great. If you have a net full of bait, if you got a lot of thread fins, what we do is I take them and I start breaking them up. One at a time, just drop them in the water. I'm chumming the whole time. Just sitting there chumming. 1, 2, 3 at a time. And I'm just breaking them up. And sometimes I can't get them to hit live bait. I'll put a dead bait on. A piece of the dead bait. A piece of the greenback, a piece of the thread fin. Throw that out there. And sometimes I'll just start hitting dead bait. The shrimp will work. I've seen it where you can catch them on shrimp, you can't catch them on anything else. Day to day, I can't tell you what they're going to hit. Typically, I would use shrimp, but they will use shrimp.
One more thing I want to chime in when you're talking about the mackerel and how they hit it at 100 mile an hour. How many people use braid here? Braid line. Pretty much everybody. I don't think they make line.
How many people use braids?
Braid is great. No stretch though. Watch when I pull this. No stretch. So what does that tell you? The only give you have, and this is with any kind of fish, but especially a fast striker